Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hello, Jason Thomas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well on this warm Texas Monday.
It is a very warm Texas Monday for our Metroplex edition of the PWBA podcast. So, yes, it is very fitting that it is 100 plus degrees out right now.
It's better to be inside than outside, for sure. Definitely, for sure.
Very, very much so. Well, JT, we've got another great week here scheduled on Bowl TV. We're going to kick things off with a three-time tour champion, the 2015 PWBA Rookie of the Year, a legendary member of Team USA as well, Stefanie Johnson joining the show. So let's get right into it and welcome Steph. And there she is.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Across the Metroplex. We're
Yes.
like neighbors.
Yes, it looks like we just talked about being outside. Looks like you've been outside quite a bit lately. Got a little tan going on.
I have been outside a lot more than usual. So enough to where my skin's not burned. I actually have a tan going on. So it's kind of nice.
There you go.
We'll see how long it lasts.
When the tour starts up again, no one's going to recognize all the ladies. They'll all be tanned and look like they'll be, hanging out at the beach.
I know. Well, I guess we got to do what we got to do. And I have two little kids. So anytime they want to get out of the house, that's kind of what we do, and go to the pool now that it's open, or our splash pads. It's, the hot days of summer. So we spend it in the water as much as possible.
That's definitely a great strategy. I like that. How have you and the family been doing? CJ, Levi, Kenzie, how you guys been spending the past few months or so?
Oh, well, some days are just, we wake up, we kind of figure out what day it is, and go to the park. We've been working on some of Levi's writing. He's going to be going into first grade. So trying to keep some sort of routine, if you will, for a 6-year-old. That's not the easiest, but just trying to keep them entertained. Working from home brings its challenges, but, try to look at it as a blessing in disguise, all this extra time you get to spend together, because you never know, just kind of one day at a time, what's going to happen.
Very, very true. We've had some good news for you in the bowling realm in the past week or so. The PBA League had its draft last week, and you are one of the newest members of the Phoenix Fury. There's the celebration dance. Just talk to us kind of about that process. What was it like hearing your name called by Kim? Obviously, a lot of Team USA experience on that group as well. So just, when you heard you were the pick and joining Shannon and Liz and Jordan and Maria, just, kind of put that all into perspective.
So, rewind, I guess, a couple of weeks when the whole thing was announced, if you will. Of course, it was exciting because it was like, wow, okay, maybe here's an opportunity to get selected to bowl in something competitive and fun. Obviously, watching the PBA League and that sort of environment is like no other. It's pretty crazy. And I think my husband would agree, the week or so before the draft actually happened, I was pretty anxious. Being in that group of ladies is a little intimidating, even as obviously a professional bowler myself. And, I have accolades and a resume, but you just really never know kind of what's going on in the team managers' minds. And, regardless of where you're ranked, I mean, there were obviously a lot of great women that were not selected. Mm-hmm. So there was just no guarantee. But having said that, when my name was called, we had some confetti ready in case.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And we just tried to make light of the situation and try to make it fun. The kids were around, my mom was around, and my name got called. So we had our little celebration, and it was really cool. I felt a big weight lifted off my shoulders, and I'm super grateful for the opportunity that we've been provided. So we're just going to hopefully see if it happens in September, and you never know, maybe even come home with a win.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Are you excited with I know you obviously getting to bowl with Shannon's probably pretty exciting for you, but I know you've done a lot of bowling with Liz as well. Former Team USA member Liz Johnson. It feels like you guys are going to have pretty good chemistry.
I would have to agree with that. So I can say I did not anticipate being drafted anywhere near the front of the draft, if at all. So as the names were being, picked, and Shannon and Liz and then Jordan, I was like, oh my goodness, to be in that sort of company, Jordan being essentially a rookie still, if you will, and Liz a veteran, and obviously Shannon's my best friend. Then to hear my name called, it was like, oh, this is like the perfect case scenario. So, and then obviously adding Maria to the mix, she is super fun and super talented. So I think the 5 of us are just going to have a blast no matter what happens and just enjoy the experience.
That's really interesting that you say that. Because I always have, ever since even before the relaunch of the tour, I've always considered you, a top 5 player. Do you have a confidence issue, or do you not for some reason see yourself in that? I mean, I certainly do, like I said, but like with Shannon and Liz and Kelly, and in my mind you're with them, but do you sometimes find yourself questioning whether you're in that group?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I'm very confident with my abilities. I think the anxiety just came from the unknown of like all the things that could happen. So by no means is it a confidence thing for me. I'm very comfortable with everything I've accomplished and have yet to accomplish, if you will. So no, I think that probably just stemmed from just a whole new thing and just kind of sitting there waiting. And, it's like a kid in a candy store. Like, you're just anxious.
Like before the tournament starts, right? Like you don't know how, you want it to start, but you don't know how it's going to go. And right.
Yeah. I mean, in your mind, of course, you have it all planned out of these are the people that in, your dream team would be. And, and it just works out how it works out. You just really hope that you're going to be a part of the mix. And obviously it all worked out and we're talking about it, and hopefully maybe in September, October, we'll talk about it some more.
Certainly so. And we're going to bring it around to a change you had in 2020, obviously making the switch to Roto Grip, and you're wearing the jersey right now. It looks good. And Mandy in the chat believes so as well. Says, I love her top. I want one just like hers. So thanks, Mandy.
I'll provide you the link, Mandy. I designed this myself since I'm helping with Colwick as well. So pretty cool.
You also had this comment in the chat as well. I don't know if it's real or not. I mean, Harvey Wallbanger is a drink, so it'd be kind of a interesting name. But I know you're already married, but it reminded me of my favorite YouTube video. Steffi Graf is asked during a match at Wimbledon if some guy yells out, "Will you marry me?" And she kind of looks around and she gets a smile on her face and she yells, "How much money do you have?" to the guy.
That's a great question. There's nothing wrong with asking a question to a question. He probably went back up in the stands and sat down.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. She put me in my place.
Sorry, Harvey.
But I think you were back to that question, Aaron.
Sure.
Yeah.
Making the switch this year, obviously you found some success in the first 5 years on tour with your previous company. What was kind of the motivating factor for you to make this change heading into 2020?
So I kind of had an epiphany halfway through 2019 where I just thought, the year 2020 is going to be the year of like perfect vision, right? 2020. I'm chuckling because of where we're at now. could not have guessed where we would be. But anyway, so my contract was going to be up at the end of December of 2019. So obviously when that happens, those conversations are going to be had with your current company. And then of course, I'm sure many people kind of explore options. And I just thought, I'm not getting any younger. And if I wanted to make any sort of move, it would probably have to be now. So talks have been had and things were kind of brewing back in, I would say, October timeframe. So that was all obviously behind the scenes because I was going to fulfill my contract rightfully so through the end of the year. Fast forward to November, and the acquisition of EBI happened with Brunswick. So call it what you want. It just kind of worked out in the fact of I was making a switch already. That transition was happening with Brunswick and EBI. And I was able to basically get out of my contract at the end of November so I could kind of start in December with team trials coming up and all of that stuff. So for me, it was just a personal move. There was no hard feelings whatsoever. Like you mentioned, I'd been very successful with the equipment that I was using at the time. I'd been with EBI for 9 years. So even though it's your decision, it doesn't always make it easier. It definitely was a challenging choice for me to make, and very happy with where I'm at. I, again, wish I'd be bowling right now, but it's here nor there. So just looking forward to anything we have in the future.
Yeah. Look who's there.
Yeah.
Who do you have there?
Come here. Okay, bye. And
just a quick
like
cameo. Yeah, just a quick cameo.
I promise you she will be back.
I was curious about the process of changing companies. I know, it happens all the time. I know Shannon did it a couple of years ago, and ever since she's done it, she's been Player of the Year the last 2 years. But it doesn't. Sometimes it's a little tougher for people to switch companies. Do you think having this break where you're able to kind of play around with the equipment a little bit is going to be helpful for you in making, if there was any adjustment at all, the adjustment?
Oh, 100%. So, I like to look at things as a silver lining sometimes. And, maybe this was my time to just dive into the equipment more. So the tour was obviously supposed to start in April. I would probably be fair to say that I wasn't ready to the point of where I'd be like 100%, know my equipment, know my progressions, know all the transitions, the layouts. Roto and Storm kind of use a different layout system. So I was just trying to kind of get to know that and just try to fill my brain with just as much information as I could that would probably help me down the road. Because I think for me personally, sometimes when I get stuck is, all right, well, something's working really good, and then all of a sudden it's not working really good. What is it that I need to change to? So I've been kind of playing around a little bit with my equipment and just how each ball kind of transitions off of each other. And I think that'll just help me at any point in time, no matter what tournament I'm bowling.
Do you also think maybe changing brands might give you some different looks that you maybe didn't have before, maybe some additional versatility, or was it just, you just, hey, they're a great brand and, I'm going to figure out how to use their equipment?
Yeah. So I think, I was let's rewind a little bit, my collegiate career and then my first few years out of college were with Brunswick. When I made the switch from Brunswick to EBI, there was a transition of the motion and all of that stuff. Now, again, my transition from EBI to Roto Storm, there's another transition. It's just, I wouldn't say that one company is better than another. I would just say that the motion is different.
Right.
I feel like I have stronger bowling balls in my hand, which I think can definitely help me in some ways. So, it's definitely added a couple more tricks to my bag for sure.
Do you think that's kind of what's been missing? I mean, like I said, I think you're a top 5 player. but you haven't won as much as nobody has, but like Liz and Shannon, right? Like, is that what you're looking to maybe add a few tricks so that you can add a few more titles, at the rate that they are? Is that kind of some of the thinking behind it?
Yeah, I think anytime you can grow as an athlete, no matter what the trick is, whether it's, physically changing companies or learning a new tool, I think is beneficial. Um, I don't know that there's one thing that's kind of hindered me, from winning, so to speak. Maybe I'll have to knock Shannon in the knee. I love you, Shannon. Obviously,
well, Tanya Harding, yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, I think anytime you can, add something to your repertoire, and it definitely can't hurt you. It's just a matter of knowing when to use those tools.
Yeah.
Now, Steph, the last time we got to see you on the lanes in person, the Tour Championship, you made a great run through the bracket, all the way to the TV show. You fell to Shannon, but you bowled a great game on TV. What did it mean to you to kind of finish the season on a strong note? And as one of the few players who's been to the Tour Championship every year, just what's so special about that event for you?
Wow, that event is obviously like nothing else we've ever really done. And I think it's just the culmination of the entire year. It's kind of like your reward is kind of how I look at it. I had a rough year in my personal opinion last year. So ending the way that I did, even though I didn't win, I made it from the bottom of the bracket to the TV show, fell short to Shannon. And like you said, we bowled great. So you can't really hold your head over that. But the Tour Championships is just kind of the icing on the cake. The tour itself is amazing. Then at the end of the year, you get this celebration event to kind of celebrate how well you've done throughout the whole season. So, like you said, I've been privileged to have participated every year with, I think it was 2017 or was it 18? One of the years when I had just had my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I won the Orlando Championships to get to the Tour Champion. So it's been pretty cool. And every year it's a little different. And it's an amazing venue. And hopefully we get to go back there soon.
I have a question about, the first year that we had the Tour Championship was 2015. You finished second and had a chance to win. Needed a strike to it might have been the most important shot that's been thrown on tour since the relaunch, right? I mean, because it was, Tour Championship on the line, Player of the Year on the line, and it didn't work out. Is that something you give thought to, and was that something that you has kind of changed your approach to important shots or important moments, like needing a strike to win a cut, needing a strike to win like the title you won at the Players Championship a couple years ago? Was that a moment that you put a lot of weight into?
Obviously, I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, with it being at the training center and having my family there, I do remember it vividly, of course. But I don't weigh too heavily on those moments to necessarily define me as a player. I think they help you in the long run if you use that experience to grow and learn from. It was one shot of my career that obviously in some ways cost me a lot, because I was Rookie of the Year that year as well. So,
right.
I don't know.
Was it a good shot?
Or whatever.
Did you feel like it was a pretty good shot, or what happened on that particular shot?
So, not many people remember the match before it when I was bowling Kelly, and I was down the entire match until about the fifth frame. We went to commercial break. I went to go over to chat with Rob Gottschall, and I said, "Look, obviously what I'm doing is not working. The ball I'm using is not working. I'm not comfortable." So we put a different ball in my hand, a different layout of the ball I was using. It was a different paradox. And all of a sudden, the skies became clearer and I struck out to beat Kelly when I was down the entire match. So I think probably when I bowled Danielle, I was just a little behind the transition. And if I remember, it was a decent shot. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, I split, but
Yeah, I think that's
it is what
the
it is.
interesting thing about, some of these shots. Like I remember one year at the Tour Championship, Shannon left a split in the 9th frame to lose the semifinal match to Kelly. You were calling the match at the time. And I remember a fan came down and said, "Hey, don't worry about it. One day you'll learn how to throw a strike when you need it." He was trying to be nice, right? But it came off as being like the most insensitive thing. But what happened on that shot was the lanes were starting to transition. She thought she could stay where she was one more shot and just kind of jam it in, and it didn't work out. The ball hooked on her. And so, but watching at home, you just assume, oh, well, that was a bad shot. That was a choke. That was whatever. A lot of times it's not a bad shot. It's just you're trying to do something and the lanes transition so fast. You're just trying to milk it for one more frame. So, I mean, did you feel like in that situation it was pretty good? Like it could have struck and it might have been, maybe I should have moved a board or two, that kind of thing?
I mean, yeah, hindsight, of course, is 2020. But I definitely should have moved for sure.
It's tough to move. Tough to move when you need a strike to win Player of the Year and the title, right?
It really is, and like you said, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. When people are watching at home, it's such a different view, per se, because you feel like it's just hard to explain being in that moment, all of the emotion, and it's live and there's people and there's noises. It's just really hard to simulate that without actually being in the moment. So yeah, I mean, there's so many factors that go into it. I don't obviously regret any of it. I mean, it was a fantastic year. I mean, it was my best year on tour. And again, even the good moments don't really define you. It's just a constant learning process. I mean, this game we play is crazy. We're bowling on an invisible, golf course that's constantly changing, and we just have to make the most educated guesses we can to kind of stay ahead of those transitions. And sometimes we pay full price, for instance, when we split, and other times we get lucky and we trip a 4-pin. So there's a risk and reward that you have to balance in your head depending on, like maybe what's on the line.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to potentially take a look at a shot like that coming up, going back to 2018, your big win at the Players Championship over there at Plano Super Bowl. We have our winning moment queued up here. He's
marking the 10th frame to not only win in her home center, but win her first major.
Execute right here
in front of her entire friends and family. Her children are in the building.
Be you.
I like the self-talk there prior to the shot.
Be you and execute a good shot. I have chills.
The hometown hero can do it right here. It's a strike. It's a championship for Stefanie Johnson. She has won the Cubica AMF PWBA Players Championship in her home center.
We're going to get some of the speech here afterwards, too.
In front of your entire family. This is your home center. Your office is upstairs. You probably know every single face in this building. For you to win your first major championship in front of your home crowd, but more specifically in front of your family and your children, what does that mean to you?
Like I said, I can't really put it into words. I hope that one day they follow their dreams like I do, and that they're proud of me, just like I'm proud of them every day. And I just really hope to be an example for them that just never give up. And it's just amazing. I can't do this without my family. So thank you so much.
What did you mean when you said be you?
Make me cry.
We try every show. Make people laugh, make people cry, make people think. What did you mean by be you?
I knew I needed to make a good shot. I mean, a strike obviously was a win, and I don't remember the pin count, but I think I needed a mark. And I think so often you get in those moments where you try to be something that you're not, instead of just focusing on what you control and just get up there and make a good shot. So before I said BU, I think I said, like, execute or make a good shot or something like that. So I really try to tell myself, like, the positive things to remember, because that's kind of what your brain feeds off of. So some of the times the mic doesn't pick it up because it's not on, but they definitely caught a couple of those things I was saying. So speaking of tripping four pins, I mean, it wasn't the best shot I threw, but you get lucky, and it was my time to win. So it just gives me chills every time it pops back up, because it's just a cool moment to have been at my home center. I was the number one seed. My family was there. Shannon was commentating. It was like this perfect storm of everything that kind of was happening. I just needed to kind of finish the happy ending.
Now, one of the things I remember from that particular show is, you bowled Kelly for the title match, and she was kind of steamrolling folks in the matches leading up to the finals. And I think she had the front six or front seven, like back-to-back matches or something like that to make it to the title match. Looking back at that particular event, just, something happened that slowed her down a little bit. You were able to take advantage. What did you kind of see on the lanes in that title match?
Well, I will say what's really crazy about that match was, obviously we're practicing on the practice pairs, basically next to the live stream, and I'm practicing. I'm kind of throwing the balls I had thrown all week, and I remember Brian O'Keefe said, "Well, let's try that Game Breaker 3 Pearl." And I really hadn't thrown it all week. I maybe threw it 4 or 5 shots total. So they were seeing some transition going on the TV pair. So I said, okay, I'm always open to suggestions, and I trust all their feedback, and that they're obviously going to have my best interest in mind. So I think we maybe had 2 or 3 minutes left of the practice before I was going live, and we decided, you know what, that's the ball we're going to throw. And I said, I bought into it. I'm like, absolutely. Went on the TV pair, threw a few shots. Obviously the left lane, which we didn't show any of those shots, I was horrendous on that lane. I mean, I think I went high twice. I crumbled a bunch of crap. But it is what it is, right? You're oftentimes on the bad side of that equation, and sometimes you're on the good side of it. But I try to approach any match, whether it's live on TV, live stream, qualifying, that it's literally just me in the lanes. And I need to listen to what the lane's trying to tell me. Obviously pay attention to my competitors' ball motion as well. But I just knew Kelly would probably be deeper than I was, trying to circle the lane a little more, where I'm just typically more direct. So even though I was playing it from the left, it was still pretty direct. So that was kind of my game plan going in, to try to keep the pocket in play and just kind of make the most of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because Kelly, I think, started to lose her ball reaction a little bit. In that she had a great ball reaction going into that final match. So you probably were thinking, man, she's got a really good ball reaction. I'm probably gonna have to bowl 230 or better, right? But you're not going to go in and play the lanes like she does, right?
Correct. I knew Kelly is obviously someone to be reckoned with. She's someone I look up to still, proud to call her a teammate and a friend. And I knew no matter who was going to be in that final match, it was going to be a challenge. I mean, there was no easy person to beat ever. And again, I try to just attack the lanes versus who I'm actually bowling, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all friends, but only one person can win. So if I personally can kind of separate that and just try to focus on what I'm doing, one shot at a time, make the best of the situation. That's kind of how I get through those moments.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the crying part too. You're typically somebody who plays it pretty. Don't show your cards. Don't. You get pumped up when you're doing well and get excited, but you seem like you're pretty in control of your emotions. What was it about that win? And that was a great story, right? It was like coming back from the layoff from maternity leave, I guess you'd call it, and then having the early portion of the tournament in your home center in Orlando, and then having the finals in your home center here. What was it about that win that was so emotional for you?
I think it was just a combination of things. When I decided years ago that bowling was what I was going to pursue, we're talking like high school, because I've been bowling since I was 6, but now that I have a 6-year-old myself, I totally get that, they're not really sure what they want to do. So I just bowled. I wasn't a bowler. When I got to high school and I decided this is what I'm going to commit to, I got a coach. I actually listened, and I bowled on our high school team. I was fortunate that I grew up in Miami, where bowling was a varsity sport. So I had to choose actually between bowling and volleyball, because I loved volleyball as well. And I thought, longevity wise, bowling's probably going to provide me with more opportunity. So that's literally the reason I decided to commit to bowling in high school. And I think whenever you commit yourself to something, you want to see yourself win at the highest level possible. So, fast forward through my high school career, college, and then the tour, the original PWBA tour had folded. I thought, well, now what am I going to do? I actually have to get a job or something. So I know I'm kind of like telling you my story, but
No, that's what we want to hear.
That's like why I tried out for Team USA, which was in 2005. I was still in college. I was going to graduate in a year. And I thought, maybe this will fill the void of my competitive juices. Let me go try out for the team, kind of see where I fall. I'd been on the junior team for a few years and had some success. So I thought, it's like you always hear, you just kind of got to jump right in. So that was my first year trying out, ironically, here in Dallas. And I got selected, and it's been a blessing ever since. So that's actually where Shannon and I met. We met here in Dallas at Team USA trials. Not many people even know how we became friends. That's how we met. But so, when I was in that opportunity for the Players Championships, specifically that year, the major before it, I had lost the final match to Liz Culkin at the US Open. Same kind of situation. Led the whole tournament, couple rounds up and down, but I was the number 1 seed, and she steamrolled me. So that was a heartbreaker in some ways, because I was in front of my home crowd in Orlando and all those people that I spent my college career getting to know. So fast forward, whatever it was, 6 weeks later, I was literally in the same position. Number 1 seed, my home center. It was like, okay. So of course, it was like, here we go again. But so many people asked me, did that opportunity of the US Open kind of help you here at the Players Championships? And I said, in some ways, yes, but in other ways, no, because the US Open chapter was over. That tournament, there was absolutely nothing I could ever do about it. It was over with. Nothing I would have changed. It just wasn't my time. And here we were at the Players Championships, and I thought, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. So it was just, it was a emotional roller coaster for me in so many ways, because I think as well, being at your home center, a lot of them know you're a professional bowler. They see you practice, but they never see you actually compete at that level where you're super focused and you almost look like mean and intimidating. They just know me as the front desk girl that would just give them a lane and smile and, just be normal. So it was really cool for me to give them that opportunity to see me in a completely different light, in the competitive zone or whatever you want to call it. But and then of course,
little did those league bowlers know that you had a Wonder Woman cape on underneath your front desk outfit.
I'm pretty sure they know Stephanie's got some fire. Just like I said in the interview to Shannon, it's, now that I have children, your priorities obviously shift a little bit, but I'm super blessed to still be able to do what I love to do, and having that opportunity to do it in front of them and then win. I mean, the picture is still my screensaver on my laptop with the trophy and my family. I mean, it's just a forever moment that I'm so proud of. And whenever they go upstairs and see the trophy, they just think it's the coolest thing. Yeah, look at that. And I just love the way he's looking at me. Like, I don't even if he knows.
That's my mom.
No, that's part of the reason why I picked that photo too. Was I love the way Levi was looking up, so proud at the moment and enjoying it. But obviously, Steph, being a full-time mom and a professional bowler has got to be certainly something interesting to juggle throughout the course of the usual season. What are kind of some of the biggest struggles and, toughest things about that? And conversely, obviously you're getting to spend more time as we talked about at the top of the broadcast. It's kind of a unique opportunity though, to spend some more time with them too in 2020.
Yeah. I think as we move forward and we eventually get to look back on 2020, that hopefully everybody can look at it as, an opportunity that we could slow down, we could maybe enjoy ourselves a little more in a different way. Because obviously right now I would be kind of in the middle of juggling some traveling and bowling and tour season. So in some ways, tour season, even though it's essentially another job for me, is also a break from them. So it's a fine line. When I Levi back in July of 14, the women's tour came back in the spring of 15. So it was not really a question for me. It was like, okay, I'm gonna go out. I wasn't gonna be the mom that still didn't pursue her dreams, even though having a child. So everybody's a little different. I'm super, super blessed to have a amazing support army around me with Chris. My mom lives with us, and his folks are close by as well. So, I can't do it alone. I don't do what I do without them, which is why in the speech as well, I basically said that exact thing. I can't do the things that I do without having them back me 100%. So, it's come full circle. Now that I'm a mom, I can greatly appreciate everything that my parents did for me with taking my brother and I literally week in and week out to tournaments up and down the state of Florida, and just allowing me to pursue what I love to do. So I'll just forever be in debt to them for that.
We had Deandra on last week, and she had some interesting things to say about like before and after motherhood. And one of the interesting parts of her story was, she made a show on tour in 2017 after the kids were kind of old enough to realize that it was a cool thing, right? Like she wasn't just a YouTube bowler anymore. She was actually, Wonder Woman. Is that, is that something, being as successful as you are at what you're doing, is that something that you're glad your kids actually get to see now, because you can actually just kind of show them, if they pursue their own dreams, that they can accomplish things?
Oh yeah. I think anytime you can provide an example for your children to just follow their passion, whatever it is. Chris and I agreed early on that just because we love bowling doesn't mean we're going to make our children love it. We will obviously them to it. And if they love it, great. We will continue to provide for them. But if they want to pursue something else, totally fine. And that's where I really feel like we give them that opportunity. My son, he loves trains. I think he knows every part of a train. He knows more about trains than I ever thought I would ever. So I often tell him, I said, look, honey, like if you want to be a train conductor or an engineer or work on the railway, like you go do it, So we're always trying to like tell them, like whatever it is you want to do, like you tell us, we don't want to be the dictators here, So I think that's super important.
Are they interested in bowling?
So we take them bowling for like little family outings. I think they're still kind of young. Well, not Levi. He can last a couple of games, but Kenzie kind of gets disinterested. We put the bumpers up and we give her that cool little ramp, but she's like, where's the game room? Which isn't really open right now, but
yeah, I'm familiar with that problem myself. I have two that aren't into sports, so that didn't help. And then the other one that was into sports, I would bowl with him, and I would bowl, three 250 games, and he would be like, this sucks. I'm never going to be good at this. I can't do it. I'm done. And so it's like, hey, buddy, I'll stop bowling and I'll just teach you how to bowl. You have access to a lot of good coaches through me if you want to be good at this.
Exactly. That was my transition in high school. Like I bowled every year, Saturday morning league, and then my brother and I bowled the Sunday night scratch scholarship league. And I don't think my brother realizes, and not many people know I have a brother, that he was a lot of the driving force of me wanting to be competitive because he's a lefty and he was good. And I thought, man, I need to beat him. Like, I don't want to have that beats me. So he feels recreationally now. Like, he pursued his career and he's doing awesome. But growing up, we definitely had the sibling rivalry on the lanes. Like, we weren't ever the kind of kids that fought and did any of that, which is nice because my mom often reminds me of that. But on the lanes for sure. And I would take him now. He knows I would beat him.
Yeah, I think my money would be on you as well.
So if you're watching, Keith, let's go.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, one of the things now that you're out of Keith's shadow and you are Stefanie Johnson is that you're also a multi-time gold medalist for Team USA, and of course the big win in 2019 at the Pan Am Games with Shannon O'Keefe there in doubles. And for anyone who's wondering, that medal weighs about 42 pounds.
It is really big. I should go get it. Yeah, it's really cool.
I remember you brought it to, I think, East Hartford, because that was right after, and you were showing some folks, and you're like, yeah, here, hold it. I'm like, just but
how did you even get that in your luggage?
That's true. You're overweight right there with those 50 pounds. So, but obviously that was a big win for you and Shannon to share. How does that particular gold medal rank among your 16-year career on as a part of Team USA?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd have to say it's one of the top. It's really cool in so many ways. So what a lot of people probably don't know is that the Pan American Games is one of the highest events that we can compete at for bowling. And it's also one of the events that you have to qualify for. So, on the outside, some people saw it as, Stefanie and Shannon got to go bowl doubles together. Great. Team Stefanie. But there were so many things that had to happen in order for that to happen. So, we had the trials at the training center, which I led by quite a few points. It was a weird point system per day. And then the next event for qualifying was Queens. So of course, I'm trying to work all the numbers and case scenarios of where people fell and all these positions. And I want to say it was almost towards the end of qualifying, one of the final rounds, that I went over to Shannon and I said, well, you're in. Like, nobody can pass you because the other ones had already been eliminated. So, like, you're the last man standing. Like, we're going to Peru. And we just freaked out. We had another crying moment. It's just really special because it just worked out that way. It definitely wasn't that we were picked to go. So, fast forward, we get to go to Peru, and obviously representing your country is amazing. And then being able to do it with your best friend just brings it to a whole other level. So, and it was no easy task. We were up against the girls from Dominican, the girls from Mexico, the Colombians that bowl on tour. So, we knew going in that this was not going to be some medal handed us on a platter. So we worked really hard together, and we were committed to each other, and we were just kind of in our own little world. And Shannon would definitely agree to that we just kind of got into the zone. It felt like everybody in the bowling center kind of disappeared, and we ended up on top, which was really cool. And I don't know where I would rank it as far as the other accomplishments that we've had as a country, but it's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, you guys make a very formidable team, not only just, because of how great you both are, but just having a close connection. I'm curious, you probably have a better perspective on this than anybody. What do you think has made Shannon jump to the next level that she's at right now? In the last 2 years especially, just, last year was just, it seemed like she was winning every other week. What do you think, what do you personally attribute that to?
I mean, I think it's 100% just her work ethic. She is one of the hardest working people I know on and off the lanes. And she'll often tell you that, she's obviously a coach to all her girls at McKendree, and she wants to be the best example that she can be to them. So you can't just preach to the choir. You have to, walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And she is a perfect example of that. And her accomplishments, of course, speak to it, and she's also one of the most down-to-earth people I know. Not many people know her on the level that I do. And I tell her often that she's just my inspiration. And she says the same about me. And it just kind of works. We both have this amazing support system that, whether she's bowling well or I'm bowling well, we're both there for each other. And I think that's kind of hard to find because so often there's just a competitiveness where, you all want to win, which don't get me wrong, we want to win too, but we're also so happy for each other because at the end of the day, that's one thing we can control. And we made a pact a couple years ago, being roommates on tour. I told her, I said, look, there's going to be weeks that maybe I don't make the cut, or maybe you don't make the cut, or don't make the show, etc. And how about let's do this? We have from the time we get into the car after qualifying's done till we get to the hotel to just spew it all out. The good, the bad, the ugly. We have the car ride, and that is our time. So whether we, stayed 2 minutes away or we stayed 30 minutes away, that was just whatever it was. So I think that has tremendously helped us, as roommates, just to have that mutual respect for each other. That if, for instance, she didn't bowl well, that I'd be respectful of how she's feeling and vice versa. So that's been something that's helped us a lot throughout the years.
Yeah, I love that. There's a book on my shelf right over my shoulder where my thumb is called Tuesdays with Maury. Have you ever read that book?
No.
It's a great book. It's Mitch Albom wrote it. So it's a story about Maury was Mitch Albom's teacher, and he was dying of cancer. And so it's basically like the lessons that he taught to Mitch as he was dying. And one of the lessons was every day he would allow himself 5 minutes to feel sorry for himself. And then after that 5 minutes was over, he moved on with his day. And I just love that. I think that's such a great thing that you guys give yourselves a little bit of time to, be upset and to vent, and then you move on. It's such a great lesson for everybody. But I know you've been reading a lot of books lately. You said you've been, taking your kids out to the pool and reading a lot of books. What are some of the books that you've been reading over these last few weeks, months?
Oh my gosh. There's been quite a few. I can tell you that I kind of fell in love with reading over these past few months. I felt like, if I have this time to myself, that I need to feed my brain with something positive. I've always been one of those glass half full kind of people. And one of my favorite books is The Slight Edge. I've read that probably 2 or 3 times already. There's another one, The Key to Happiness. There's lots of good ones out there. One of my favorites that's kind of written in a more kid fashion is I think When You're Not Yourself, Be a Unicorn, which obviously a lot of people know that I love unicorns. There's one on here somewhere. the glitter and unicorn stuff. But yeah, I just felt like, that's something I have control over. I have control over my thoughts in a lot of ways. So I should probably feed myself with some positive energy, because, every time we would turn on the news or something like that, it was all negative. And it's so easy to kind of fall into that trap of, life is bad and all these bad things are happening around us. But, like I said, hopefully next year when we look back at 2020, we could kind of see the silver lining of all the good things that maybe came out of it, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for, and hope that a lot of people can feel that way too.
I like that stuff. We were talking about, your friendship with Shannon, and you kind of alluded to it earlier in the podcast that, Team USA, I believe in 2005, where you guys kind of kicked things off. But I want to know if there's a specific story, a specific moment when it just went from, oh, this is a girl I bowl on Team USA with, to being like, hey, she's pretty cool. And plus, I really want to use this photo too. But,
oh my gosh, did I sign off? You could use that?
I think that perfectly sums up your guys' relationship.
We have so many amazing pictures, very much like that probably are somewhere on the internet. Anyway, I took that picture, obviously, and I love Shannon. I don't know that there's any specific moment, and I don't know that she would say anything differently. I just feel like as the years went on, we just kind of developed a friendship. Not because we had to, it just kind of happened. Because the only time we saw each other was Team USA, because there was no tour. And gosh, 2005, I think Facebook was kind of just starting. I don't know that there was this one moment of okay, I want her to be my best friend. I think we just kind of developed it over time. And I think that's where the best relationships come from. It's just over time. We have some really funny stories, and that picture exactly sums up our friendship. We are just, people see us on TV and they see a different side of us, the competitive, intense, kind of, intimidating side, if you will. But it couldn't be farther from who we actually are. I know I can call her at any moment and just, we can laugh, we can cry, we can talk, we can do whatever. And I think that kind of friendship is hard to find, especially with someone that does the same thing you do. So, she often tells people that, God knew she needed a sister because she has 5 brothers, and I was the lucky one that he chose for her. So here we are.
That's cool. I know you've got a hard 2:00 deadline here, so I want to get this question in because I think it might be a long answer. A lot of people have a lot of different reasons for why they're out on tour. When I look at you, I see you as an all-time great. If we had like a 50 greatest list like the PBA has, you're definitely in my book on that list. But what are your goals for what you're trying to accomplish, before you hang them up on the PWBA tour?
Gosh, I just think that being able to be out there, competing with the best of the best and constantly putting yourself in that position, I think it's just part of the excitement, because I think oftentimes in any sport, there's a fear of, not being good enough or not being able to compete. So for me, again, being a mom, I think it's just, again, showing my children that you could be anything you want to be, no matter how old you are, anything like that. If you just put your mind to it, obviously winning titles would be amazing, winning player of the year, all of those things. But I think that the big picture for me is just being competitive and getting those juices flowing. And I think that's mostly kind of what I miss, from not being able to compete this year. So I think that's probably one of the bigger goals of mine.
Well, sounds like you're going to get there. I mean, it seems like everything you've put your mind to so far in the sport, you've accomplished it. And I certainly enjoyed watching you compete over the last 5+ years, and even on the women's series, the success you had, in that program, and Team USA as well. Any last thoughts, Aaron, for Steph?
Well, we got about 2 minutes left before that hard 2:00 sign off for you. So I think we'll just use this opportunity to say thank you for joining us here on the PWBA podcast. Obviously, congratulations again on the Phoenix Fury. Look forward to that show a little bit later in the week.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With Shannon.
I know. Maybe we'll bring some more pictures for you, Aaron.
Okay. All right. All I know is I found that one in our Team USA file. So I blame Matt Cannizzaro because he's the one who probably took it. So
you can keep looking. I would say I'll find out what year. We have some real winners. We did like a individual cameo shoot from we were pretending we were in high school with jackets and
oh wow.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a way better collection than we do, Aaron.
I don't think so.
They do. They have it filed away as do not use, but that's well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. I hope you enjoy the rest of the summer with the kids.
I will.
And stay sharp.
Maybe I'll be a little darker every time.
Awesome.
You guys have a good day.
Thanks. You too.
All right. You too, Steph. Take care.
All right.
All right, JT.
Another good conversation.
Look at us. We got 40 extra minutes to talk about whatever now. But always great to talk with Steph and hear some stories. Got some great insight. Loved hearing a little bit more about her and Shannon's relationship and kind of how that kind of came over the years. I always think to my best friend, there was one moment when he said something to me and it's like, this dude's going to be my friend forever. and it turned out that way. I was the best man at his wedding, things of that. So I was interested to hear about that, but another good show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think we could have gone another 45 minutes. It's just interesting, talking, when you get an opportunity to have somebody of Stefanie Johnson's caliber in any field, right? Whether it's bowling or the medical field or the legal profession, it's just really interesting to get their perspectives on what makes them tick and how they've been able to accomplish all the things that she's been able to accomplish. And for her, it's really interesting, how she's been able to balance, having kids and a regular job and all this other stuff, and still, being one of the top players that we have out on tour, week in and week out. In my book, she's one of the 5 you gotta look out for, because she's just so consistent. She almost never has a bad week on tour. So it'll be interesting if she could figure out a little trick to, get her in the winner's circle just a little more often than she's been. I mean, she could absolutely be, player of the year candidate.
I would agree 100%. I thought that was a great perspective, looking back at the 2015 Tour Championship. And yeah, arguably that was the closest race we've had for player of the year. And it came down to the 10th frame. And, that's, obviously part of the Tour Championship, which, some years it works out that way, some years it doesn't. But yes, I would agree 100% with you. It's hard to believe she's only won 3 times. As good and as consistent as she's been out there. Obviously she's missed some time just due to family starting up. And, she talked about the win in Orlando, which was, she had missed the first 8-9 weeks of the season, came back, won that first time out. So that was obviously very cool.
Yeah. But, and it just shows you how hard it is to win out on tour. That's just how there's not that many titles available. There's 13 a year. Mm-hmm. And, the players are really, really, really good.
That they are, and hence the tough selections from the coaches for the PBA League, just being able to select 10. As we kind of talked about, we'll see Stefanie along with the rest of the Phoenix Fury on Friday here on a special edition of the PWBA Podcast. But I'm pretty excited for our show coming up Wednesday. We're going to kind of take a different look. Obviously, if we had the 2020 season, we'd have a rookie class. And in my opinion, this is probably the overall strongest one we've had since 2015, when basically
that was
90% of the league was
no rookie class is ever going to beat that one.
Very true, but
but you're right. I agree. I mean, this rookie class has probably the deepest field of rookies that I think have a really big shot at making shows and winning titles. And I hopefully we'll be able to have a whole bunch of them on over the next few weeks and months.
Caitlin Johnson, 2-time NCBCA Most Valuable Player. That's essentially Player of the Year for collegiate bowling on the USBC collegiate side for Weber International. She'll be joining the show on Wednesday. So excited to see CJ. She's had junior team USA success as well, and even nearly made a show at the U.S. Women's Open a couple of years ago. Yeah. So very talented young player. So be excited to talk to her. Inside the OC to wrap up our podcast schedule this week. Kind of going an old school show. It's going to be fun. Actually, one of the gentlemen who was in one of the background of the shots at Plano Super Bowl there, Jamie Brooks, a past Eagle winner, 60 years on the lanes, and he's about to reach 100,000 pins. He'll be on the show Thursday, along with Mike Schmidt, who celebrated getting 100,000 pins last year in Vegas. So that'll be a pretty cool show with Matt Cannizzaro. And JT, I know you have an exciting show lined up Wednesday. I'll let you tell the folks a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have the 2019 U.S. Women's Open final from the player who ended up finishing runner-up in that event. One of the most exciting finishes we've ever had on the tour. Tanya Raumenper is going to come on and talk about that match and the whole week leading up to it, and the brutal 10th frame where she got one of the worst breaks you'll ever see, and then Danielle came up on one of the most difficult conditions, imaginable, and threw a double to take home the title. So hopefully there won't be too much crying on the show, although there may be some. But no, she'll be fine. It'll be really interesting to get her perspective on that. So check that out on Wednesday.
Certainly looking forward to that. So good, folks. We're signing off today for the PWBA Podcast. Thank you again to Stefanie Johnson for joining us here. So for Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. We'll see you next time right here on Bowl TV. Thanks again.